Now, 5 Australian startups are among 45 chosen for Rabobank's Global Food and Agri Startup Discovery Program, FoodBytes. One of them is New South Wales field robotics company Agerris, which is commercialising robotic agricultural equipment and AI solutions to develop sustainable farm operations. CEO Salah Sakaria is also Professor of Robotics and Intelligent Systems at the University of Sydney, and he joins us now via Skype to tell us more about the AgTech startup. Salah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great to have you join us. Now, I'm really interested, how big a role will robots play in the future of farming, and in what form? Are we talking about sort of robot harvesters going out there, or what's going to be happening? What are we going to see in the landscape?
A mixture. You'll probably see autonomous farms, so large-scale operations which will have everything from thinning, pruning and harvesting in tree crop applications to health monitoring and planting in vegetable crops. And then down to the smaller scale farms where you might just have robotic assistance, so little weeders, for example, like little outdoor Roombas that go up and down rows and are weeding or detecting pests.
So I'd buy that now.
Now, tell us more about your business and the technology that you guys are developing there.
Yeah, so we spun out of the University of Sydney last year in April. We had about 10 years of funding in R&D building small electric ground robots for farmers in Australia. And the spin out was really focusing on commercialising or building commercial prototypes for those robots. So we have a number of those robots now, and they're on farms in New South Wales, and they were in Victoria. We brought them across just before the border closed, so hopefully we'll go back down across when the borders open. But those robots are on farm, and they do things like crop intelligence, weeding, and eventually intelligent spraying. The weeding is mechanical weeding, so it's detecting weeds amongst plants and removing them without the need for any chemicals. And the crop intelligence is really doing per plant, so we can go down to the individual plant and determine its health status, its yield estimate, and so forth.
Wow, this looks incredibly impressive, and we're just looking at the footage right now. So are we talking at this point in time small-scale agriculture with the hope that you can build Agerris up into sort of broadacre farming, or where is it at this point in time?
Yeah, so we're focusing on the high value and high labour cost crops that are predominantly in the horticulture industry, so around the vegetables and also in summer fruit and stone fruit. When you look at broadacre, you can kind of get away with some large tractors and they occasionally go out, but when you look at horticulture, you've got to do daily activity. You're out there detecting pests, detecting weeds down to the individual plant level, because it's seasonal and casual workforce, which they're finding very hard to get at the moment now. It has a much higher impact in those areas. But you're absolutely right. The intention is to grow in Australia and then internationally.
And you basically just answered my next question, because obviously this would be an incredible solution for farmers right now who are absolutely having massive problems with finding labour to get their crops off.
Yeah, it's in horticulture where you're using casual workers and seasonal workers, and not many people want to be out on farm anymore. And the flip side now, because of COVID, the extra aspects that the farmers have to go through in order to bring people on farm safely has caused a massive issue, at least in Australia and around the world. But also there have been other issues. So, for example, Brexit has caused aspects around migrant labour going into the UK. In the US, there's been a crackdown on that process too. So there are many factors now that are really causing farmers to think about it. And even if the labour force does come back, it's about thinking about what the future holds and what they need to do.
Now, you guys have been selected, as we mentioned earlier, to be in Rabobank's Global Startup Program. How significant is this for you guys? Will this really help you take this product to overseas markets and develop that network?
Yeah, it's a great way. I mean, it's a fantastic scenario to be in. It's a great implementation. So Rabobank's been great in the FoodBytes program, and what it does is it puts us in the field with other people internationally. It allows us to connect with VCs, distributors, manufacturers all around the world simultaneously, which has been great, and getting a lot of feedback. So being able to understand how the international market may be different to the Australian market.
So Salah, where are you on the journey for Agerris? Are you going to be looking to funding to sort of scale this up at this point in time, or what are the plans for the business?
So we received quite a significant seed fund, so 6.5 mil in April last year, and that brings us out to about 2 years of funding, 2.5 years of funding. Our first intention was to build commercial prototypes. So we had a lot of lab prototypes, field prototypes, and now they're commercial prototypes. So over the next year, it's engaging with some key growers that we've built relationships with and who are looking at engaging with us commercially, and really bedding down the robot on farm, closing on that product market fit quite clearly, and then being able to use that as a mechanism for scale.
Look, Salah, thanks very much for explaining your product to us, and congratulations again on making it into the Rabobank program, and we can't wait to continue to follow the journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much.